Hello, gentlemen. Hope everybody is doing well as always. And here we are. It is the day of the election here in the United States for my foreign viewers and subscribers. And, today's the day where we figure out, what the hell's going to go on in this country. And personally, my view about politics still remains the same, which is basically, you know, it's all bullshit. The people that are in positions of power, CEOs, certain government people, presidential candidates, it's all chosen way beforehand, and these people are selected to be in those positions. Um, I don't really like to bring this kind of stuff up to very many people because they usually get defensive and they get upset, and you just have to deal with that side of things with people and dealing with their belief system and what they've been taught to believe in and all this other stuff about the way that they think the world works or the way that they think certain organizations are structured or whatever. But I think politics, it's all the same. These people are selected to be in the position of power, regardless of what people want it to be. You see, the government is so corrupt and so absolutely ingrained into every facet of society today. To think that you can change all of that in a day is kind of hard to believe. And it's kind of unrealistic. And I know that people are going to disagree with me, and I already know what to expect, but that's fine. I've said plenty of offensive things on this channel. I could really care less. But anyways, that's just my view on it. It's all a shit show. Everything is orchestrated. Everything from the, from the, what is that recent event with Donald Trump? There was a scare that somebody attempted to say. It was apparently somebody said that it was an assassination attempt, and somebody had a gun. I support what Donald Trump's doing. I really do, but I'm not. But I'm also not stupid, and I know that there's something called lying, and politicians do it every day. And just because somebody says something does not mean that's what they actually think. I don't care how much you like the person. I don't care. Okay, they could be lying the whole fucking time. You would never know it. You've never met any of these people. You don't know what in the world's going on behind the scenes. You're not privy to know that. So just to assume that they're all good and goody two shoed, and that that whatever comes out of their mouth is the truth, you're an idiot. But that's part of this brainwashing and indoctrination of how we've been told to believe how certain things work, and even some of the people that are the most knowledgeable people about politics and the truth and how things really work and the conspiracies that are going on, even some of those people still don't want to believe in the fact that all this is bullshit and the person is selected way beforehand. And really they don't know how staged it really is, because all it takes is just to have somebody go rush up on stage. Part of that is to get the viewership rates up. That's part of it. People don't ever consider that. They think that it just happened and it's 100% true. Well, you're buying into the Hegelian dialectic if you think that it's all true, because it's all orchestrated. Every bit of it, everything that you see, they're all in on it. The people rushing up on stage trying to look like it makes it look like you're trying to kill somebody. You're telling me that with all that Secret Service protection that they let them just somehow slip by with a gun? Are you kidding me? You're out of your mind if you think that's going to happen. Is the Secret Service really getting that bad now? No, it's all bullshit. It's all orchestrated, and that person is all these people are in on it, and it's all designed to boost viewership ratings towards the candidates, so that people keep watching the TV because something exciting happened. Okay, that's how they get people, and it just comes to show you how brainwashed and stupid people are to actually think that they believe it. Which is why I have no hope for politics, because it's all bullshit and it's all orchestrated and it's all bullshit lies. So I don't put too much faith on government and politics, period. I don't care who gets in. I don't care what they say. I know it's all fucking bullshit, and I know that these people are lying son of a bitches. I know that. So that's why I don't put too much faith in politics, and I don't, unless I see proof, especially when it comes down to politics, because there's so much lies and deceit and bullshit that has happened. To think that all that is going to change, you're buying into the Hegelian dialectic. So whatever happens today is going to happen. I'm not putting too much faith in any of anything right now, because they have worked people up so much, and people are so at the thumb and at the mercy of what they have done to orchestrate this whole big showdown between these candidates. So that's my view on it, and I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to go get myself maybe a bottle of whiskey, and I'm just going to watch the election and get through it and deal with it. As I know many people will. But this is part of this whole matrix that we're living in, where people are buying into all of it, and they're falling for it hook, bait, and sinker. And it's all been positioned for that very reason, and all the reactions that you see out of people have been thought about a long, long time ago. So that's just my view on it. And I wanted to say also that I've been listening to the audiobook for 1984, and I'm about almost halfway through it. And there's something I wanted to bring up, one other thing I wanted to bring up today, which is from the book, and it's very much emulating what our society is today. And what it is there's a group in the book 1984 written by Orson Welles, or Orwell's, and basically there's a group called the Anti-Sex League, and it's these women. It's all full of women. And the world of 1984 is a scientific, it's a dystopia. Everybody basically lives like complete slaves. Everybody's poor, cockroach, rat-infested buildings. They're watched inside of their house 24/7 by TVs that listen to what they say, that only have 3 channels and they don't shut off, and constantly broadcasts and all this other stuff, and everything is closely monitored, and there's spies everywhere, and the people are wed to the political party to get jobs, so that they make sure that they don't say anything wrong, so they're enforcers within the enforcers, right? But basically, Winston, which is the main character of 1984, he begins to write a diary, and the diary is the book called 1984. That's what he did, describing the scientific dystopia that he was living in, and he was trying to save it for future generations, or to tell them what was going on. But one of the things that I remember out of that book, that one of these, Winston falls in love with is this chick, or finds this chick attractive, and she's part of this anti-sex league. But as far as I've gotten in the book right now, basically, she fucks all the party members, but she doesn't want to have sex with any of the regulars, right? So that's the social dynamic, and that's basically what your modern day feminists are today in this book 1984, which is the Anti-Sex League. And something that really made me want to talk about this is the fact that she says that the reason why they suppress sexuality in 1984 is because it builds up the anger and the hatred in people for themselves and for the situation, specifically in men, so that men are turned into the ultimate fighting machine, because they built up all this tension and masculinity and this rage and anger, because they're not able to be men in this 1984 dystopia, because they're always controlled, and they're not able to be men. It builds up all this anger and all this rage inside of them, and so they can be used as weapons. It's like you poke a bear in a cage. At some point, you're going to piss the bear off, and when you let it loose, it's going to rip everything to shreds. That's what they're doing in our society today with this feminism, with this feminization of men, this LGBTQ, transsexual, gay thing. It's all designed to feminize men and manipulate the masculinity in men so that they can be used for political purpose, for business reasons, and for manipulation reasons. But it really made a lot of sense, because when you do not allow men to become masculine, you do not allow them to be men, what happens is you build up all this energy, and I think this is what the red pill rage is. You get angry because you realize you've been used, and when you know you've been used, you want to revolt. Well, unfortunately, they already knew about this, these people in this 1984 dystopia, and also in our present-day society today. They knew this would happen, and so what they did was they leveraged that effect, cause and effect, and they swung it in their favor by doing this. So they knew that men would revolt, and they knew how to deal with it, and they were going to use it to go fight in war. because they had all this anger built inside because they weren't allowed to be men. And that's so much of what we see today in our society with, women can get away with murder and all this other shit and abortion and killing their kids and treating men like garbage and slaves, but men can't even, we're being suppressed every single day in the society from our masculinity. I think that's another reason why feminization and this whole transsexualization and this gay bullshit is going on, is because they're trying to eliminate the masculine qualities, and even in our bodies too, right? Because if you have men that look masculine, then you're going to have women that like masculine men, and they're going to try to form some kind of bond with that. And what they're trying to do is rewrite history and change the society so that that is not a thing, because you won't have women reproducing with masculine men and having a masculine dynamic and a feminine dynamic together, because that builds up family units and etc. So they're trying to change completely the standard and the outlook of how men and women reproduce by changing the physical features of us as men, turning this into soft looking things so that we all become asexual, so that we have a hive mind, which is what we see today, so that everybody is easily controlled. Very much of what 1984 is what's going on today. And the reason why is because the guy that wrote the book worked for MI6. And he basically was working on the inside, and he wrote a book about what he saw and what he was dealing with, what he knew about what the plan for the future was. Red Pill Philosophy explained this so perfectly, and I'll link his video below. So perfectly, he couldn't have summed up 1984 better than I could, but he basically laid it all on the line. We live in a dystopian society today, and Red Pill Philosophy said that we live in, we don't live in 1984, we live in 2016, which is the sequel to 1984. And just like sequels, they only get worse. And I thought that was just genius when he said that. And so that was from Red Pill Philosophy. So kudos to him. He did a really good job explaining it. But he's right on the head. He nailed it right on the head. That's exactly what's going on. And it's much worse than 1984. It really is, because not only has the social dynamics crumbled, but also people have disintegrated completely. They're animals. People are animals. Their minds have been reduced psychologically to react as animals do. Easily offended, easily affected by violence, easily affected by masculinity and things of that nature. This is the 1984 goal, and it has happened, and it is completely and totally has been implemented in our society today as we see it now. And so we do live in 1984. Everybody today, the reason why people watch TV is because they live in there's nothing in the world outside of what they have been focused in on, watching reality TV shows and paying attention to mainstream celebrities and worshiping these people, when in reality these people would shit all over their face if they ever saw them. But these people worship them. That's the dynamic that has been created. You're less, they're more. This whole worship, we're less than me. It's all trying to get everybody to be less than, turning them into slaves, which many people are already in that. It's called the sheeple. They're in, like I said, people psychologically have been reduced to, in their minds, by reducing them to react like animals do by all this crap. That's why people watch TV, because they live unfulfilling lives, because the world that we live in is unfulfilling. And I have had several guys comment on my channel talking about this, saying I want to separate myself as much from society as I can. The Japanese herbivore men, I understand it, because the society that we live in today is full of a bunch of stupid, brainwashed idiots who don't know anything, and they've basically been turned into animals. So yes, there is nothing for you in a society of the dystopia that we live in today, where everybody's on their smartphone, nobody looks you in the face. The things that people want to talk about and the things people believe about is nothing more than just complete garbage. It's just garbage, and it's just regurgitated from the mainstream news and all these brainwashing TV shows that we see today. And people sit in front of TVs and on their smartphones and live in this dystopian technological society that we have today of Facebook and Instagram, living their lives vicariously through these things, getting attention, and women getting attention because they all live in a fake world of fantasy land because their lives are so unfulfilling. Specifically with men, our lives are unfulfilling because we have to do all these things and we get nothing out of it in return. There's no benefit. So men retreat and they say, you know what, fuck that. I'm not going to do that anymore. That's why men go their own way. That's why men take the red pill. That's why men want to change their lives. Because the society that they live in is unfulfilling them. That's why I took the red pill. That's why I went MGTOW. When I started to wake up and realize that all this crap, these TV shows, the film business that I worked in, when I was working in the film business and doing the things I did and it wasn't fulfilling to me, I started to separate myself, and that's when I learned about MGTOW. I was also sick and tired of how women treat men. I was sick and tired of how they behave and how they're able to get away with murder in many cases and aborting their kids and treating men like absolute slaves. It's not right. And that's why I walked away from it, because I wasn't going to sit there and be the aider of my own demise and put up with these narcissistic, psychopathic women. Forget about it. I'm not going to do that. Nobody should, because you're just hurting yourself. So walking away from society, taking the red pill, this red pill rage, from the book 1984, when that character said that, it all clicked in my head. They're doing this because they're trying to piss the bear off, so that when they release it out of the cage, it does, and it destroys everything. It creates absolute havoc. Because men revolt when they get angry. They don't just put up with the garbage. So they know that. They want to use that. They want to provoke us to the point where we unleash and rage and destroy everything, because there's nothing left, and we're being used as weapons against ourselves. You know, the men and the women, but mainly the men, because we're the stronger, more dominant sex. So I'll also be reading the book Brave New World coming shortly, and as I read 1984, I'll make videos about it, and I'll do my little analysis on how it relates to MGTOW and how it relates to society today. The Matrix. It's all part of the Matrix. We live in the Matrix. We literally live in the Matrix. In more than one ways I'm willing to talk about right now, because most people aren't ready for what I know about how deep the Matrix really is, just from my research into the occult. You know, every time and it's funny, I get a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't want to hear about the occult. I don't think that's all bullshit, and you lost me. I'm not going to talk to you anymore." That's fine. I really don't care. It's not for you then. I'm only here to talk about this for people that are wanting to hear more than what the general population know about, or interested in taking the red pill even further, taking other red pills in other places that people don't know, not just taking the red pill when it comes down to how the Matrix has affected men and women. I'm talking about how it's affecting the whole world in very particular and specific ways. And so we live in the Matrix. 1984 and the present day is what we live in. We're living in 1984. Everything is being watched. Big Brother is watching us. We have cameras everywhere. Cameras facing on our phones in two different ways. Microphones. All of it. It's all there. And so my final thing I want to say before I shut this video down is that in order to survive, you have to learn how to adapt, adjust, and overcome. Okay, whatever happens with this election, you're going to have to learn how to adapt, adjust, and overcome. If things get hairy, because we don't know what's going to happen. We're not privy to know the inside baseball. We're just not. I'm talking about inside baseball. I'm not talking about what somebody said behind somebody's back. I'm talking about what their real agenda is for everything that they're doing right now. As a MGTOW, you have to learn how to adapt, adjust, and overcome. A man going his own way, somebody who's taken the red pill. Adapt, adjust, and overcome. I think that's a Marine or a military saying. And when they do training, keep that in your mind. Adapt, adjust, and overcome. That's how you're going to get through this. Things might get really crazy from this point on, and I guarantee you it probably will. Okay, if Hillary Clinton gets in, then she's going to be the pinnacle poster child for feminism, and you know that women are going to take advantage of it, and they're going to use it to their fullest extent. And the dynamic is going to get worse than it already is now. But you have to learn how to adapt, adjust, and overcome. Thanks for listening, and hope everybody has a good day.